Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Mike Herrera podcast, you guys. I appreciate you so much. Happy Memorial Day if you're in the U.S. here. Thank you for your service if you served our country, and if you've done it with integrity, I appreciate you. All right, you guys, let's get into some voicemails. I don't know what to tell you. I know we have some shows coming up. We got my solo show, and that is coming up June 12th in Bremerton, Washington, downtown. I think my set time starts around 5 p.m., something like that, and I play pretty much a full set, and then right after my set is the World Cup game that starts. I don't know if that's on the 20th or if it's another game, but it'll be on the big screen right next to where I'm playing. There's a big screen right there downtown. So it's going to be epic. It's for the World Cup fan zone in Bremerton, Washington. That's June 12th. That's a Friday night. If you're over here, come celebrate, bring your friends, bring your family. It's going to be just a good time. It's just a good, just basic, fun, energetic party. I'm going to be part of it. Bring my acoustic. We'll do some jams. It's going to be cool. And then we're flying out to Vans Warped Tour in Washington, D.C. the very next day. So we'll see you out east in June. And then I think Long Beach is in July for Warped Tour. I don't know the dates because I didn't pull them up. And then Montreal in August. And then Goldfinger's playing a show in August. We're playing a bunch of shows too. I don't know exactly where, but check the website for that. But I'll be in Montreal for Warped Tour, and then I fly in to do the Palladium show with Goldfinger. It's going to be a crazy weekend. And then September 5th, And then I'm not announcing the show, but I've been telling you, we're doing a Pacific Northwest show at the end of August, and we have not announced yet. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. I swear. Believe me. And then September 5th, I want to say it's a Saturday. I don't know exactly what it is. We're going to be in Milan, Italy. We're flying out there for that show alone, headlining Punkadeka Festival in Milan. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you out there if you're in Europe. Appreciate you. And then we're going to come back home and continue doing some Vans Warped Tour dates. I think September I know we have something in November as well, but we've got Mexico City and we've got Orlando, and I'm not sure when, but it feels like it's getting blurry towards the fall of the year. I don't know what's happening then, but we're still going, still working on it. We're working on new music. We're working on the new album, the artwork and the manufacturing, and we haven't really started that necessarily yet. But just know we're working on it, and as soon as things get done, it goes to the next phase, and it goes to the next phase. There's just a lot of phases, so that's what we're in. I'm gonna put together a lot of things very soon. All right, stay tuned for that. I'm getting excited about the new music, but enough about that. Let's get to your voicemails because I love hearing from you. The number is 360-830-6660. This is not my personal home phone number, so if you have this number, all you can really do is just leave me a voicemail and let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know a great story. Let me know something crazy you've done in your life. Does it have anything to do with MXPX? It doesn't have to. It's always fun when it does. But what's your favorite new song off the newest album? Like that kind of stuff. But like again, it doesn't matter what you call about. It's for whatever you want. All right. I appreciate you. All right. Let's get to it. Here we go.
Mike Herrera. It's Jason Kaiser. Big fan. So in light of No Doubt being at the Sphere currently, I know you guys toured with them back in the early 2000s. I recall back then, I feel like what's his face, the bassist, that asshole, he came out of that tour looking like you. His hair was slicked back and like mohawkish and fucking bleached, and he was like, he stole your moves. I mean, yeah, they're huge, it's no doubt, obviously they've earned their place, but like, I feel like, I mean, did you ever, after that, did you like kind of notice that, I remember thinking that back then. I mean, I was trying to think, I think now he looks like, he was always trying to impersonate Flea, and then, it was you, and now it's a bad version of Flea and Mike Herrera. I mean, you're always my fave, but anyways, what do you think?
What a call. What a first call. Jason, appreciate the call. Hey, you're entitled to your own opinion, and I love that you love me. Thank you. But I got to say, Tony Kanal, he's the bass player of No Doubt, and he is a very nice guy. If he did rip me off, or if he was influenced by my fashion, by my bass moves, by anything that I've done on stage, that's a huge compliment, and kudos to both of us, I guess, for making it this far in life. But honestly, I never really, I don't know. Tony's a great guy. He's a good-looking guy. And I got to say, Tony kind of looks like me. Or maybe I kind of look like Tony because he's older than I am. So he was here first. But, we have a different bass style. He plays with his fingers. I play with my pick. I started out playing with my fingers, but I moved to a pick after Steve Kravac was like, if you're going to play punk rock, you got to play with a pick. So I ended up moving to a pick on Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo. That was the first record I played a pick on, flat pick. And anyway, back to Tony. No, he didn't rip me off. And if he did, who cares? We're all just swimming in the sea of life. And we mix it up with each other now and again. And I got to say that all the No Doubt band people are top-notch, super nice people, professionals. Adrian Young, their drummer. I mean, I was at a Descendants thing, and he was backstage, and we're all backstage, and everybody backstage is some band person, so it was awesome. But he sees me and he's like, Mike, what's up, man? It's been so long. And it's like it's been no time, and he's just a really good dude. I haven't seen Tom lately, Tom the guitar player. He just had a post about being diagnosed with, I think, MS, something like that, or Parkinson's maybe. But he's still playing. But there's a finite length of time you can really be out there on the road playing guitar, articulate those notes, and it's not easy, I'm sure. It's not even easy when you're perfectly healthy, to be honest. So my heart goes out to Tom and his family, and I hope he has a slow-moving case of whatever he's got, Parkinson's, and maybe there's some medical breakthroughs that are happening right now that will help him. But back to Tony. Tony is a stud, and I would never disrespect Tony by, one, calling him an asshole. He's not. He's a great guy. And I know, Jason, you're just being hyperbolic, and that's fine. I still love you too. So thanks for the call. Appreciate you. And even if Tony did rip me off, I consider that a huge compliment. So, all right. But let me say real quick, it was very cool seeing the clips and the photos and the video clips from No Doubt's residency at the Sphere in Vegas. And man, it gives you so much FOMO. I wish I was there. I wish I could see that show. Even as somebody that's seen No Doubt live back in their heyday, we did open for them on the tour. That was our first bus tour, 1997, after Warped Tour. I think it was the fall of 97, if I had to guess. I think we did, and I could be wrong. Maybe it was spring 97. But at any rate, that was our first bus tour, and Gloria Connor was our tour manager, sound lady. And we had this bus that was so ghetto. It worked for us. We were very happy, but it was the first show with No Doubt. And when we were leaving, the bus driver, I don't know how, but there was a road that goes out of the amphitheater or arena or wherever we were playing, and it was mounded up. It was kind of like an elevated road. And he, for some reason, decided to turn around on that road and tried to turn around and got stuck in between, like literally, whatever you call that, like, where you're up in your wheels are spinning, your tires are spinning, and the body of your car is just on the road. And that was the last time we had that bus. So Gloria was like, all right, we are getting a new bus. Everybody off the bus. We got into, cabs. There was no Uber back then. This is 1997. We went to the hotel or a hotel or whatever. I don't know if it was our hotel or if we just got a hotel and went there, waited for the next bus to come and get us, and the next morning or whatever. And we didn't miss any shows. So it worked out. But that was our experience with our very first bus tour. Was with No Doubt. And we opened, and then the specials were main support. No, not the specials. The Selector. And even more sort of like, I don't know, like deep fan, like a fan of ska would know this band, but like if you were just going to see No Doubt because you liked Walking the Spiderwebs, you're not going to know the band The Selector, most likely, because it's very, very eclectic ska from England, from the UK. But they sounded great, and they were a great band. But it was them set up in between, in front of No Doubt stuff, and then MXPX had to set up in front of their stuff. And so we're on this huge stage. We've only got maybe 2-3 feet in front of the drums for us to walk and play and stand and run around and perform. So it was just very hard to do our thing, with no stage. And I don't know if it was that, and that's just the way it is. They had No Doubt had a very ornery British tour manager and stage manager, and so they were kind of nice, but not really. They were pretty harsh. So you just had to do whatever they said, whenever they said it. The band themselves were always top notch, always 100% awesome. But I wonder, because a lot of times we have shows where, well, we pretty much headline all our shows, right? Most of our shows we're headlining, unless like we're maybe opening for The Offspring or something like that, or Green Day or Blink-182. Sure, we'd open for those bands, but aside from those, I mean, we're pretty much headlining or we're headlining our own shows in the punk scene is what I mean. So when we always were treated pretty well by bands, and so I don't have a lot of complaints really over the years. There's definitely some that were not as good as others, but almost never the band really. It's usually like the tour manager or the management or something like that. But we've always made sure that if possible, the opening band doesn't have to set up on the floor in front of us. Now we will literally take our drum set out and let them put their drum set there, or let them borrow our drum set so it doesn't have to move and they can use the drum riser, that kind of thing. We do that with the Ataris. We did that with Goldfinger. All of the bands that came to our show in Denver got to use all of our huge cabinets. They got to use our backup heads. Like we kind of just get everything to cut down the costs for the other opening bands because it is so expensive. And I got to tell you, the backline and light rental for that Denver show was, I don't know, if I had to guess, probably $25,000 or something, like probably more than that. But things are expensive these days. I'll just tell you. For one show, $25,000, one show. Crazy. Anyway, we try to do what we can to cut down other bands' costs when they're supporting us, when they're opening for us. We want them to look good. We want the show to go well and to run smoothly. And a lot of that is giving people the space they need to perform. So that's our thing. And it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you got to leave. It just doesn't work. But for the most part, we build our shows in order to make that work. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of us for being so nice to people and being so good to our support acts and our colleagues, really. They're all our friends. So it's sometimes they're doing better than us and sometimes we're doing better than them, and it all kind of it goes back and forth and it evens out, and it's awesome. So all right, Jason, thanks for the call. Let's get to the next one.
Hi. Yeah, I'm a longtime fan of MXPX and love the podcast. Love Music Mondays and everything you do. And as a fan, I appreciate everything you do, Mike, and your whole team and the band, everyone involved. I hate to bring this up because I know you didn't want the Michael drama to drag on or anything like that, but I saw the episode where someone talked about Louis Sly, and they mentioned seeing his last performance. And you made a great point, that you can't really judge people by how they act all the time, because they may be going through any number of things. And, I'm really glad that all the fans came forward and showed their support for you with the Michael drama and everything like that. However, the ones who were really harsh on Michael and name-calling, I think they need to grow up, because they don't know Michael. They don't know what type of person he is. I don't know.
I agree with you. And I think I didn't say it exactly like that, but I was just like, hey, we don't need to be harsh. But yes, I appreciate this comment so much.
He could have been having a really bad day, week, month, year, decade, maybe. He could have been in a similar bad space, as Tony was. We don't know that. We don't know if he could be struggling with bipolar disorder or depression or some form of social anxiety, some form of autism. We don't know those things. And so for a bunch of strangers to come and say some harsh things about this person, like, do I agree with what he said? No, not really, but I don't know where he's coming from because I wasn't there.
I appreciate what you're saying too. And I want to back up everybody that was a little harsh. They probably regret it a little bit too. Sometimes you're emotional and you have an emotional response, just kind of like Michael did as well. So everybody's guilty of that at times. I'm guilty of that at times. And I appreciate that you're pointing this out. Okay.
Can't really judge. Again, it's, I think the way he handled it was maybe not the best way, but I wouldn't want to be too harsh on him because I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have somebody to come home to. Maybe he hates his job. Maybe he doesn't have any friends.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe he struggled with things for a really long time. So, as much as I'm really glad that you got support that you deserve, Mike, but at the same time, you never know what he's going through. You have tons of fans, including myself, who, they adore your music. They love you and what you do. And you got a family, a great family and support system. Michael might not have that.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But, I'm really glad you're doing what you're doing and hope you keep at it. And for all the people who are positive, big shout out for being grown-ups about it, but yeah, hope you have a great rest of, your day. And one last thing is everyone should listen to a song by a band called Wilco called The Lonely One. But yeah, thanks for everything you do. Peace. Take care.
Dude, thanks for the call. I totally agree with what you said. And you're right, man, because we have these emotional reactions and we don't know what Michael is going through. We don't know if he's alone. We don't know if has all these other external pressures just bearing down on him. And then this was just the last straw because he was so focused on maybe having this certain type of experience or whatever it is. So, man, you're so right. And I think we've learned a lot the last couple weeks after that incident happened about the meet and greets, about how great you guys are at supporting this community and how many great memories you have of the band and throughout your life of getting to meet us throughout many, a few times here and there. So it was really cool to hear everybody be positive. And, the people that were negative were just being defensive for me. They were trying to defend me and my pride and my whatever. And I appreciate that. And I don't want to say don't do that, but yes, we can all be kinder. We can all be, like you said, a little more grown up about it. I think we've all learned a lot and we all have grown up a lot. It's one of those things where it's a little misstep in life, to if I would have, said one thing differently to Michael, maybe it would have just been just the right thing, and then he wouldn't have called in mad, right? I don't really dwell on that and think, oh, that's what I should have done, because of course not. You know, we can't really go through life having those thoughts, because we're always going to be able to do things better. Hindsight 2020, right? But going forward, we can do things better, and I appreciate the call. Wilco, The Lonely One. I probably know the song. I just can't think of what it is right now, but I was definitely a big Wilco fan. I haven't really kept up with them. They've gotten very eclectic, and it's not as my cup of tea as their earlier stuff, but I love Wilco AM, which is their first album. It is a masterpiece in alt country and Passenger Side. There's just so many good songs on it. Their second album, I think it's called Summer Teeth, whatever that album is, second, third album, whatever. Summer Teeth is an excellent album. It's less country, it's more pop, eclectic indie pop kind of stuff. Almost perfection, to be honest. They have so many good songs. You're a jar with a heavy lid, my pop quiz kid. Just really good lyrics, good visualization of what he's saying, you know. So I dig it. I'll check out The Lonely One. But you know, songs can inform us and teach us a lot. They really can, and especially when we pay attention to what those lyrics are and have a meaning that really means something personally to you. All right. Thanks for the call. All right, let's get to a couple more.
The original Star Wars trilogy is the greatest reruns of movies ever made. There are interviews from major news organizations with World War II veterans talking about how taking their kids and grandchildren to see the original Star Wars film took them back to their childhood. No other film in the history of film has had that kind of effect. Those three movies are the greatest thing to happen in cinema history.
Wow. That's a take. That is a take. And I got to say, it's not that unbelievable that people would think that these are the three greatest movies in cinema history. And I can't really argue, because of it's probably not just, he's not talking about, I assume you're not just talking about the quality of film that you see, the quality of acting, the quality of writing. I think it's everything, but it's how it makes you feel. And you're talking about the World War II vets, they probably break down crying and just having all these emotional reactions to something that when you connect to something, that's when it becomes great. And that's why it's so hard to really connect with movies, because I don't know, you kind of like, all right, I've seen this. Da, 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 da. With songs, for some reason, even though you've heard similar songs, if you really, really hear a song that connects to you, it doesn't matter how good or bad the recording is. It doesn't matter how good or bad the singing is. It just matters how it interacts with you, with your heart, with your soul, with your emotions, you know, and your brain. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think music does definitely added to the Star Wars franchise in such a huge way. You know, those themes they're epic. They're everybody knows them. I mean, they're good. They're so good. What makes them good? I don't know, maybe because they're good, but also they're tied to this bigger thing that really is a nostalgia machine, you know, at this point. All right. Let's see if we have another one.
What's up, Mike? This is Robbie Aaron from the band Oceans Away out here in Los Angeles, California. Hey, buddy, I just want to say I agree with you 100% on the original Star Wars trilogy. A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi are by far, with hands down, the trilogy, man. The trilogy. You're spot on. I'm a 90s kid, right? But that's what I was raised on, too. I remember the 3 cassettes that you got on VHS. It came in a golden pack. I'll never forget it, man. freaking Oreo cookies, milk with some Star Wars, C-3PO, freaking Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You can't go wrong, man. Intergalactic War in the 80s, 70s was just on another level, man. So I'm right there with you, Mike. Big love from LA, MXPX all the way. And tell Tom I said he's my biggest fan of memes and reels. Much love.
Dude, thank you so much, Robbie. Appreciate it. Robbie Aaron, 2 first names. Always love people with 2 first names, A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. Those are, thanks for agreeing with me. But yeah, I said, I said Star Wars and then The Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi on the podcast on May the 4th. And I got some comments like, actually, it's A New Hope and all this. I'm like, yeah. I know, but I'm not, this is not a Star Wars podcast. We're not really trying to like put all the details in, but I appreciate it. And I would rather you tell me I would rather you do that than nothing at all. I don't want you just to be seething and mad at me about the New Hope thing. And I know, Robbie, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the guy that commented me, weeks ago about the thing. And it was so funny. I'm like, actually, I get it. It's A New Hope. But yeah, A New Hope, such a good movie. And it's the emotions, it's the nostalgia. Do you have young people watching now that think those first 3 movies are the best? Or is it because we have the nostalgia cooked into it, baked into it? Now, that's what I want to know. You don't have to call in about it, but you can. Absolutely. The number's 360-830-6660. You can comment on the podcast Facebook group. You can comment on the YouTube comments. You can comment on the Instagram, wherever. Let me know. Do you think when a young person sees the original Star Wars trilogy, they would think that's the best version of the trilogy? Or are they like, nah, I like 1, 2, and 3, which is Phantom Menace and whatever else. I don't know them all. See, I'm an original Star Wars guy. I know those movies. I don't bother learning all the characters like Jar Jar Binks. I couldn't even pull Jar Jar Binks' name out of the top of my head when I was talking about it last time. But, it's because I'm not paying attention to those new ones. I saw them. They weren't good to me. I forgot about them. I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep these main Star Wars movies in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit. Now, that doesn't mean if they came out with a great movie, I would not be into it, because there are some of the newer movies that were great. I thought there was, I want to say The Last Jedi. Was that pretty good? I think that was the name of it. There's a lot of Star Wars names being thrown around. I don't know if it's like a TV show or if it's a movie, but I did see one of those movies that was really good. All right. I think we'll end our Star Wars talk right here, but I appreciate it. And I know this community, people that listen to this podcast, all these guys anyway. I don't know about you ladies. Ladies, call in. Do you watch Star Wars? Are you a fan? Do you hate it? I want to know if you hate it. Has your husband or boyfriend made you watch it? Something like that. Because I know these guys, we grow up on this stuff. Like, what else did you guys grow up on? What else, are you I know Brian Buchelt, who directed our Let's Ride video. He did the Moments Like This video, but he did, he's always been into Indiana Jones. Like, that's his thing. He loves Indiana Jones, and I like Indiana Jones as well. But like, I kind of just like all of the good ones. Like, I'm kind of just, I don't have a favorite, I guess. I like Star Wars. I like Indiana Jones. I like, what else is there? I mean, what am I missing? Does Mission Impossible count? Because that's not on my list, although I've seen a lot of those movies in the, 10 years ago and more, but I haven't really kept up with it. There's almost, when it comes to movies and TV shows, it feels like there's a finite amount of seasons that can happen, like with Lost, with like The Walking Dead, with these things. They just get terrible towards the end. And I feel like that happens with bands and with artists, with music, unless you really pay attention to that and you don't let yes men take over, and you don't have like a committee telling you, oh, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, maybe you should make it sound like Jimmy Eat World or something, like if you can really truly have a grassroots movement of this is us, we've been a band for a really long time. Grassroots, what I mean is real. You're actually trying to make a record. You're actually trying to write songs that mean something to you, instead of I'm just writing songs because we got to put out a new record, or I'm just writing songs because this is my job. When it really means something, I think you can tell, you can hear it in the music, and it depends. Some bands, you don't need authenticity. If it's like a Slipknot, I mean, it's all about the masks and the sound and the whatever, the vibrato of the branding that they have for Slipknot, right? I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, it's not real because they're wearing makeup and a facade, just like Kiss, right? Just like nothing wrong with that. That's a type of artist. It's a type of act. It's a type of entertainment. Now, coming from punk rock, we had to kind of learn as we got bigger to put on a bigger show, put on the show, but also make it authentic. Like you kind of have to think about both things. So I don't know. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate that everybody here really does think about authenticity, thinking about how other people might feel. And that was definitely one of the hardest things about that Michael situation with the meet and greet is, man, I just feel bad for Michael, to be honest. Like he shouldn't have called and left a voicemail for me or for Bob or whoever. Just because for him, I mean, I'm glad he did, but Michael, we love you. And we hope someday you can come back and call back in and let us know we're all assholes. All right, you guys. Shout out to Bob McKnight. Speaking of, just kidding. He's the best and such a nice guy, and his heart is huge. So shout out to Bob McKnight, and shout out to Christine Hall as well for helping out on the YouTube end. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mike Herrera Video. We put out clips and we put out the podcast on video every week until my arms fall off and I can't do it. But for now, we've been doing that. And of course, anywhere you listen to the podcast on audio, please like, subscribe, add, whatever that is. Appreciate that. mxpeaks.com for merch, live shows, find out where we're going to be. We're always out there working on new stuff, so stay tuned for that. But until then, plenty of cool stuff in the store. We got hoodies, vinyl, we got squishy balls, we have steak seasoning, and the list goes on. T-shirts, shorts, sweatpants. You don't want to miss our sweatpants that we got. They're awesome. All right, that's it. Appreciate you guys. Peace. Woo!